All right, Happy New Year, everyone. We're going to call our meeting to order and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Born and unborn.
Before we get started, I wanted to take a moment of silence. There was a tragedy at sea for two fishermen out at sea, and I want to take a moment of silent prayer for Oscar Diaz and John Ansay. All right, thank you, everyone. I also have a statement regarding the agenda, so I'm just going to put that out there. I had moved the public comment open forum portion of our meeting to the end of the meeting for tonight. I wanted to make sure for our departing town manager's final 4 meetings that we got through the town's business and had a smooth transition. So I moved the open forum public comment to the end of the meeting for that reason. However, I made a mistake. And I was operating under Robert's rules, under which the chair or president can move around such items. However, our policies and procedures require a council vote to move agenda items. We had changed those procedures at the end of last term, and that is where the requirement was included. So I apologize for my error, and I'll be looking for a motion and a vote by the council regarding the placement of the open forum public comment tonight.
I move that we begin next meeting to have the open forum at the end of the meeting, and as planned for this meeting, have it at the beginning.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion approved 4-1. Next, we have approval of our minutes.
Excuse me. Do we have discussion for when we vote, right?
It'll be next meeting, yeah. Approval of December 1st, 2018 special meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is there a motion? All against? Motion approved 5-0. Is there a motion to approve the December 3rd, 2018 regular meeting minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. There is an edit to page 59, book 59, page 490. The time of the January 28th, 2019 work session should be 7 p.m. So if we can have an amendment for that time to be put in.
I'll move that.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion approved 5-0. And December 3rd, 2018 work session meeting minutes, approval of those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion approved 5-0. Next, we have our announcements and presentations. So it's with great sadness that we're going to be losing our town manager, James Manny. He has agreed to stay on through mid-February, and he has accepted a nomination for the head of the state police. So many people know that he does come from a strong law enforcement background. He's been a great town manager here in Narragansett. We've worked very closely together. I was the president of the council that brought him on. So we had a nice, we've had a good working relationship. He's been responsive to the residents of the town. He's tried to learn the areas outside of public safety and finance where there's other parts of municipal government that he needed to get in touch with. So with great sadness, we'll be losing Jim to the state police. I know he still has to go through his nomination procedures in the Senate. But again, thank you for everything, Jim. And And I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. President. So it's been a tremendous honor to be the town manager of this beautiful town. And a couple of weeks ago, I was presented with an opportunity, and I have to say I had many sleepless nights. It was the toughest decision of my life. Truly was. My wife knew it. and she kept prodding me, just make a decision. So it was a very tough decision. I honestly thought when I took this job 2.5 years ago, this would be my last job and I'd be here 10 to 15 years. And I would have been perfectly happy to do that. I had a dream of becoming a state trooper at age 14. It was one of the things that drove me, I guess, to become a good boy, as my father would say. But it was something I had dreamed about since age 14. I truly did. I finally made it to the state police after a stint in the Secret Service, and it truly was a dream come true for me. I don't even know if I had 2 bad days in 25 years that I spent on the state police. One of the saddest days of my life was when I retired, mandatory retirement, 25 years to the day. So at the end of the day, I knew when the governor approached me a few weeks ago and asked me if I was interested in this, that if I did not do it, at some point in my life I would regret it. And that's really the reason why I have to do it. Not for any reason here, just I knew that decision. If I didn't do that job, I would regret it, because I also dreamed of being the superintendent, as every young trooper does. I want to thank the town council that hired me. It was Council President Matt Mannix, Susan Bonanno, the pro tem, Patrick Murray, Ray Rinaldi, and Chris Wilkins. You guys took a chance on me, and I hope I lived up to your expectations. The last town council, the one I worked with the most, was the town council president, Susan Bonanno, Matt Mannix, as the pro tem, Patrick Murray, Jill, and Mike Moretti. We worked very well together. I honestly feel like I had a lot of fun working with you guys. And this current town council, great group of people. You people are selfless, you give a lot, you care for your town in your own way. And the discourse that you see, sometimes when tough decisions are made, the residents of this town should be very lucky that they have 5 people who volunteer for this job every 2 years and really put it all on the line to come here and face the crowd. I brought my closest friends here about 6 months ago from New York, and I showed them the council chamber, I showed them the podium, and they could not believe that there was still a form of government where people could get up, talk to an elected official, and the elected official could talk back. They were just so impressed. One thing I learned about this job was this is democracy in action. I worked for the federal government, the state government, quasi-state government, and now municipal government. This is the purest form of government where decisions that are made here tonight have a direct impact on the residents, and the decisions made in my office, the same thing. The other people I'd like to really thank, and I'm going to be here for a couple more months, so I'm not thanking them prematurely, but the senior management team here in town are the best group of government employees I've ever had the honor to work with. They treat this town and the money, the tax money that's spent, like it's their own. They do more with less. Every day there's a decision to try and squeeze just a little more out so the town can save some money. Just this week, we had a tremendous rate that we're paying for electricity that Jeff Cesarine squeezed the last dime out of them. But we're saving tens of thousands of dollars a year, and every member of that team does that every day. I'd like to thank all the employees of the town. There's about 160 of them. 150 of them are in unions. The fire, the police, the DPW, Parks and Rec, selfless people, day in, day out. We all know this. The reason I bring up the unions is because the unions have a special relationship with their employees here in town and a special relationship with the town. And we had some very difficult negotiations a year and a half ago where the unions made some major concessions and the town made some concessions, and we worked together on handshakes, and we did it. And I cannot tell you how many municipal leaders in this state have approached me and said, how do you guys do that? How did that happen, where the unions and the management worked together and came up with solutions that will give this town decades of financial stability because of those decisions? So I applaud the unions for working with the town. Council 94 1033 specifically, those are the 2 unions that I dealt with, and then there's 2 more that are coming up this next year. I want to thank the residents, the greatest group of people I've worked with. You really have a strong love for your town. It shows all the time. You're very passionate. It's nice for you all to come out just to see me talk tonight. I really appreciate that. So But I just can't tell you how impressed I am with the residents of this town. I've never seen this in any place I've been, and I live in South Kingstown, and we're not like this. So it's a very positive thing that all of you are so engaged, and I'm sure there's a ton of people on TV cracking open a bottle of wine right now watching the town council meeting. I know my wife's one of them. So I'm very thankful for the residents. You treated me like gold. So Patrick Murray wanted me to say this. I wish the next town manager the best of luck. I wish him a lot of long-term stability. I wish him a long tenure here. But if this job is open when I retire for the second time from the state police, so I'll be right back here. So thank you all for everything. God bless Narragansett. Thank you. Thank you.
Now we'll move on to our open forum portion of the meeting where people comment on issues in town that are of concern to them. So, yes, Karen.
Thank you. Karen Shabshelowitz, 63 Wanda Street, Narragansett. During a visit to our Narragansett library, I checked out a book entitled Bibliotech: Why Libraries Matter More Than Ever in the Age of Google. After reading it, I was so inspired, I reached out to its author, John Palfrey, the headmaster at Phillips Andover Academy in Massachusetts. I explained to Mr. Palfrey our town's plan to build our new library and how many of us are engaged in a continuing struggle to get those skeptics in our town council to proceed and not to sabotage the project. John Palfrey, prior to his becoming headmaster of Andover, was a professor of law and dean for the Library and Information Resources at Harvard Law School. He serves on the board of the Berkman Klein Center for Internet and Society at Harvard University, School Year Abroad, and MIT Press. He's a board member and founding chair of the Digital Public Library in America. Mr. Palfrey joined the Harvard Law School faculty in an attempt to get more involved in democracy and in what's happening in our libraries and with digital technology today. He's recognized as a great authority on how people use digital technology. He's a graduate of Harvard Law School, holds a Master's of Philosophy from Cambridge and a Bachelor of Arts from Harvard College. We now have eyes on the Narragansett Library project, not just locally and from Rhode Island, but from a nationally recognized expert. And I hope Mr. Palfrey's input will encourage us all. Here is the statement he submitted over the weekend to inspire us in a positive direction with a project of historical implication and meaning for our town. If I can't finish this in the 3 minutes, it's just a page and a quarter, I'm going to ask another trustees to use her 3 minutes to finish it. This is a statement of John Palfrey, Andover, Mass., January 2019. I have followed with interest the discussions ongoing in Narragansett, Rhode Island, regarding the future of your public libraries. For the past decade or so, I have studied the political and economic debates regarding supporting public libraries in the United States. The debate in Narragansett over support and expansion of the library is connected to a larger national debate about our democracy and economy. I respectfully submit these thoughts to support your local library. Libraries are one of the most important public institutions of America and should be supported at the local, state, and federal levels. The reasons are educational, social, and economic. Libraries are essential hubs of information and education resources and services provided for free to everyone, regardless of socioeconomic status, race, gender, or background. Free for all is the motto of the first public library in America, the Boston Public Library, and it remains to this day a guiding principle of any public library. Libraries promote the love of learning and reading, especially for young people. Libraries are among the few, or sometimes the only, places where disadvantaged children or teens can boost their reading and learning skills and get a better chance to succeed in this sense. Libraries are important agents in the fight against the inequality of America, in America. Libraries preserve history. Librarians seek truth. Librarians teach how to evaluate information and detect misinformation. Today, libraries remain one of the few institutions which have not lost the trust of the American people. Public libraries are community hubs. As author and professor Robert Putnam has written, people may go to the library looking mainly for information, but they find each other there. The elderly may go to the library to escape loneliness and find new friends. Neighbors can forge new bonds through book clubs and story hours for young children, and new mothers and teens can make new connections while learning new skills in the after-school spaces. An immigrant in need of learning English, an unemployed person searching for a job, anyone looking for job training, help with taxes, or finding health insurance information can go to the public library in town. Libraries boost local economies by providing important business resources for small local businesses. They have proved to invigorate depressed communities and invigorate neighborhoods without economic prospects. Libraries are cultural centers, often the only ones in town that can inspire and educate about art, literature, and music. They can help display local art or connect local artists. Libraries are civic and democratic centers of America. Through public lectures or community discussions, they can model free expression and free inquiry and engage patrons in respectful discourse, regardless of religious or political affiliations. According to Pew Research, which tracks the opinions and beliefs of the American population, Americans remain steady in their beliefs that libraries are important to their community, their family, and themselves. 2/3 say that closing their public library would have a major impact on their local community. 1/3 say closing their local public library would have a major impact on them or their family. The impact would be especially severe for Hispanics, women, parents of minors, and those ages 50 or older. Like many of you in this discussion, I am not a librarian. I'm a citizen who cares about the truth, job creation, and strong communities. I am grateful for your openness to these ideas and to hearing the views of someone who is anxious for us all to support our local libraries across the United States and the world for the sake of our democracy. It's signed by John Palfrey, the author of Bibliotech, Why Libraries Matter More Than Ever in the Age of Google. And you can contact him at jpalfrey@andover.edu. You can also see some YouTube's presentations in front of Google. He's lectured all over. And I really want to thank him for issuing this statement and for continuing to keep his eye on the future of the public library in Narragansett, and I appreciate you giving me the time to complete the statement.
Give them to the clerk. Yeah.
Council, thank you. My name is John Brindamore, and I live, I own property on Wampum. I just wanted to say, I think everybody here seems to be looking out for the best interests of the town, from what I understand of it, which I think is very good. There's obviously a lot of people in support of the library. I think votes showed that, so I don't know if that is so much on the table anymore, whether or not library is a good thing. I think we decided that. So it seems like this is really just a matter of logistics, and I work over at the Naval Undersea Warfare Center, and I see every day how difficult it is for governments to get work complete, but also how important it is to do it right. So we need to know the financial data. We need to go into this with a good plan. I agree with that, but there's also timelines that need to be met. Sounds like there's an RFP that's drafted. It would be great if the questions that are coming up with that were being raised and answered in a quick way. If there's any way that the people of the town could help with that, let us know. I think that's about it. Just gonna check, hold on.
Well, thank you. So items 15 and 16,
I just
also
need-
our
just need
library.
one more minute, sorry. Oh, are you addressing a question?
Nope, I'm just saying items 15 and 16 on the agenda also address the library, so if people want to speak to those particular items, they can do that as
Oh,
well.
right.
Yeah.
I understand you wanted to restructure the board, and that was pushed off the library board? You wanted to do some restructuring, Mr. Murray?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, so that's going to be on the 22nd.
Okay. I just wanted to reemphasize, it seems easy enough to get an RFP out so we can get legitimate bids and more than just one bid, so that we don't end up with, Gil Bain put in one bid and we lost the heart of our city. So I'd hate to see that happen with the library. And I want the money back that the town spent to purchase the building. I want the money back from the bond. You purchased a building on our behalf. There's a means to get that money back. We all voted to do that, so it'd be great if we did that. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
My name is Tracy Weingartner. I am a local babysitter and dog sitter in this area. And my concern, as far as this conversation is concerned, is about the future of the town. I don't know any of you. I'm certainly not a political person. At 66, I decided to vote for the first time in this past election. And I know very little about politics. I know an awful lot about the library. My thinking is that if we're looking toward the future, what do we want to be remembered for or known for? And that future will depend on the children in this town. I understand that the issue here seems to be a discussion of how money will be spent in or on the town and how taxes will be allocated by the people who live here. My understanding that a fair amount of people voted to the extent that there was a bond for this. There's a few people here who seem to have an interest. And I don't know of anything else we could do with the tax dollars that would more support the future than a library where the children can gather. I've been involved with that library since I moved to Pier Marketplace in 1997, and the first thing I did was get a library card. Fortunately for me then, it was just a walk across the parking lot. I hope a lot of people get a chance to walk across that parking lot and into that building, and that's the library, and it's the very center of this town. I used to be the person in the town council, in the community, what's the name of it? Commerce building there in the towers. I was the information lady for Narragansett. And everybody came, and they wanted to know where were the beaches, what were the best beaches, where could they bring their dog to the beach, where would they pay the least to get on the beach. And I loved that. Narragansett Beach is my favorite spot in the world, other than the library. I'd like Narragansett to be known for its library, for the thousands of people who are there to meet other people, for the retired people who go to the movie every Tuesday night, for the women who bring their carriages with those infants in them and get to meet other moms and get out of their house and know they're going to be in a really safe, terrific place. And I want all of the children in this town, no matter what school they go to be able to go to that library and meet other children from this town and meet their friends. I think up until maybe very recently, I thought of the library in terms of books, but I've learned that is not the purpose of a library in 2018 or 2019. My understanding is this is a financial issue about how taxes in this town are going to be spent. And I understand that I get to speak for 3 minutes and you don't have to speak at all. But I really would like somehow to understand what other endeavor, what other expense could those tax dollars be used for than for the library that belongs in that building. I understand the contract to buy the building included the fact that it was to be purchased for the purpose of building a library. I understand that the town didn't use the money for that. I don't understand that. I understand that there are people who are involved in this town council who don't want this library to go through, who are stalling it, says the signs. You don't have to say anything, but I would really like to know, and apparently everybody I spoke to would like to know, what is up with this?
Thank you. Gail. And to learn about the other issues of importance to the town that are priorities, we have our budget sessions in April, which address all those other issues, such as roads and public safety.
We don't have time for it.
I'm just sharing that, yeah.
Gail
Just sharing
Shields,
that.
Earl's Court. I spend a lot of time at the library. I love the library. And I've been hearing a lot of grumbling at the library. People who are concerned that nothing's happened to get a new library. So we had an idea. And I asked people if they were concerned about the way the library was going, if they would write their name on one of these strips. And so we
Is that all of them?
yeah. No.
Still not 4,900. Still not 4,900.
And so they did. They came to the library, they wrote their names, and this is only within the last 3 or 4 weeks, on a strip of paper. Some of them added comments. As much as we could, we asked them, please don't do it twice. But we ended up with, let's see, this afternoon, it was 570 rings, and I know that this evening, at least 6 other people added theirs. So that is an indication of the displeasure of the people in town who want the library to go forward. Thank you.
Thank you. If people, if we have a TV in the large, boardroom. Stop stalling. We have a TV in the large boardroom if anybody wants to sit and watch instead of stand up, I know people in the back are standing up. That's what Jim just told me. So if anyone wants to do that, feel free to go to that room. Yes, sir.
Yes, my name is Harold. My name is Harold James Van West, and I sent all of you an email, and basically I have two questions. I don't think we can just have to discuss the values of the library as much as I'd like to talk about what the intentions are of the town council. So my two questions are, number one, is this project going to move forward in a timely fashion that will take advantage of that bond issuance, which I understand we have now 18 months, is that correct? I'm asking the town council, I imagine.
It was 18 months from the purchase of the building, so that was October.
So we have less than 18 months.
That's right.
Okay, so the first question I have is, are we going to move this project along in a way that will take advantage of that bond? The second question that I'd like to know is, if the answer to the first question is no, or you don't know, my second question is why? Or better still, why not isn't this project moving forward? Is there something we are missing? So thank you. If there is a legitimate reason, and as our departing town manager pointed out, you all are dedicated people who are spending a lot of time and energy investing in the town. So if there's something that we're not aware of, because obviously there's this enthusiasm for the library, could you please let us know what it is? If there isn't, could we please go ahead and do what my understanding is that 2016 bond issue said the people of Narragansett want that library, and they want it in the new building. They want the expansion. So please, either give us a good reason for not moving forward, or let's move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? All right, seeing none. Oh, yes, sir.
My name is Jim Nugent, and I'm a treasurer of the Schooner Cove Homeowners Association. And I have one question, two questions actually, or comments. One is, my understanding was 66% of the townspeople voted for the expansion of the library. Is that correct?
67 point something.
67. So that, at least in my mathematics, that's a majority, quite a majority. Secondly, my second comment is, I'm a town resident. I go to the beach. I don't go to the stores where the town council's proposed library is, because there's not a lot to do there. Okay? I think that that open building right now being vacant is hurting the town from a financial perspective as well. I don't think we're recognizing that, because having an empty space. I remember when the liquor store was there, the question this town should be asking itself, do you want a liquor store or do you want a library? I think the answer is pretty obvious. But more importantly, you want traffic in those shops for the shopkeepers to have some activity and for the town to make some money. And I think we're missing that point as well, because leaving it open is not doing anybody any good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Charles Connell. I also live at Schooner Cove, and I just moved here about 3 months ago from Connecticut. We've been coming here for about 15 years in the summer. And when we came here with our kids, we always went to the library. The library is very close to my heart. I like going there still. But it also reminds me where I came from in Connecticut, we had what I would call a rabbit warren of a building as a library. And it wasn't that fun to go into sometimes. And they decided to put in a new library. And we all thought, oh, this is going to cost a lot of money. This is terrible. And it turned out to be fabulous, right? Because they had much better system. It was a lot more open. People came and flocked there. They wanted to be there. And as you've heard already, it was a center of town and great for everybody. I also think that it helped the town in the sense of both commerce, as we just heard, but also house values. because people said, hey, the library. If you ask them, oh, the library is a very important thing for summer people like us when we used to come here, and for residents. So I also concur with everybody about moving forward, and my wife and I both sent you emails to the same effect, and we thank you for your time and effort looking at this.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? All right, our next item is the consent agenda. Does any council member? What? Oh, someone. Oh, go ahead. No.
Sorry, undecisive. My name is Dave Rudy. I live on 125 Caswell Street. And I would like to support not only going ahead with the library, but making sure that we go ahead with the library at the Belmont building. Living down in the Pier area, we take a walk through the Pier Marketplace almost every day. And it's very disconcerting to see large empty structures, the former Belmont building, as well as the community playhouse. I don't think it served the town well. I also think, as we well know, that libraries promote families moving into town. They promote places for seniors. And I think if the issue is protecting homeowners and businesses from taxes, that a strong library will not only attract new people, but families and stable year-round residents like ourselves who really need that library. We give up our town in the summer for 3 months. We want 9 months of a library. We get our beach back for 9 months, and we would like the library to be there too. I don't think that the issue is so much money, because I don't see anyone not building multi-million-dollar structures along the coast or in town. I understand you're worried about the property values and taxes. I also understand we have one of the lowest tax rates in town, in the state, I mean. And thank you very much for that. As a retired person, I really appreciate that. I would be willing to pay more if this library is going to take more money to build in the Belmont building. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think what we need is leadership.
Just your name, Paul.
Paul Zonfrillo, 7 Wynwood Circle. What we really need is not paper chains or missives from folks that are in the library industry. We need leadership. And the leadership has to come to create trust between the town council and the library. You know, this kind of pressure tactic and the stalling and all this, I mean, people are really misinformed. It hasn't been that long since the building was purchased. And the council's trying to have due diligence. So there's going to be a library. There is a library. And I would challenge the 2 town councilors that are to the left of you to really, instead of trying to stir the pot up, to try and build consensus. Instead of carrying signs, we need the library board of directors to reach out to you guys and develop some trust. Because this is how the whole thing, excuse me.
We don't need history. No, Paul, direct to me.
I'm sorry, Pat.
And they're going to be respectful if we're, thank you.
So what we really need, because this is how it's going to go, because as soon as the library board doesn't get what they want, there's going to be another meeting full of people, okay? This is not productive to getting the job done. I would like to see a new library. I would like to see it done in a fiscally responsible way. And our chain of 500 people, that's really not that many people, because there's a whole town of 15,000 people in Narragansett. And the opinions about being fiscally responsible, there are a lot of opinions on that. Yes, 67% of the public does want a library, but 67% doesn't want it at any cost. So I challenge bridges to be built between the leadership at the library and the town council instead of packing the town hall and waiving this division. You're going to have to work together to get it done in the 18 months, and I would encourage you all to do that.
Thank you, Paul. All right, is there anyone else? All right, seeing none, I'm going to move. Okay. Come forward, yes.
Are you going to answer the questions that were asked at all?
Thank you. You're right.
Ellen Koima, 109 Westmoreland Street. In regards to the gentleman that just spoke, I want it to be known that people from the library have reached out consistently to the town council, that we have been open to any questions that you may have. And it should be noted that on 2016, shortly after the bond was passed by 67%, that packets were given to every single town council member, including the president and the pro tem. And we have yet to get any type of response. And as of this year, we also reached out again to all of you that you are welcome to come at any time at our library to ask questions. You have never reached out. I never have been approached by any one of you if you have a question. And we are willing to answer any of your questions. And I agree with the gentleman that just spoke. Yes, there have to be bonds, but bonds have to work both ways. You have to be willing to reach back to how we have reached out to you repeatedly. Repeatedly we have reached out. And as I said, this gentleman ahead of me prior said a question, are you going to move forward with this project? Are you going to get yourself organized and get this job done? As 67% of these people have requested. And it has been the hard work of not only the Board of the Trustees, but we have a wonderful friends group that works so hard. Days and hours are put into this. And they are clever, smart, energetic like you wouldn't believe. And to say that we have not reached out to you is just not true. And it is time for you to start answering the questions why you have not moved forward. Why are you lollygagging? Can you get yourself organized to get this job done as what was voted in 2016 by 67% of the people?
Thank you. All right, so we have 2 agenda items on regarding the library. Is there any other public comment or right now? All right, seeing none, I'm going to move a motion to accept the consent agenda unless somebody has an item they want to remove. Does anyone have an item they want to remove from the consent? All right, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved 5-0. Item number 12 is a motion to adopt an ordinance amending the land use map of the comprehensive plan on Assessor's Plat NR Lot 1095, 1007 Boston Neck Road from medium-low residential land use district to a commercial land use district.
I'll move that motion.
I'll second.
Second. This is a second reading, so if there's no new information coming forward, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Motion approved 3-2. Item number 13 is a motion to adopt an ordinance amending the zoning map on Assessor's Plat NR Lot 1095, 1007 Boston Neck Road from an R10 zoning district to a BB zoning district. Is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll move that motion.
I'll second.
Again, this is a second reading on that related issue, so unless there's any new information regarding the ordinance, I'm going to call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Motion approved 3-2. Item number 14 is a motion to adopt a resolution approving the final draft of the town's hazard mitigation plan entitled Strategy for Reducing Risks from Natural Hazards in Narragansett, Rhode Island, a multi-hazard mitigation strategy.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? So thank you to Jill Sabo for her work on this. We were presented this at length. There she is. Thank you. We had presented this at length at our last meeting. So any questions, thoughts?
Excuse me, Mr. President?
Yes, go ahead.
So I'd just like to add, also thank you to Mike DeLuca, Jill Sabo, and everyone, and the whole team that worked on this. But the immediate importance of this that Jill worked on for a couple of years to get this through, we now realize a $750,000 grant from the federal government to rebuild a section of the wastewater treatment plant. Without this done in such a timely fashion and accurate fashion, we would not receive that $750,000 grant. Thank you.
Jill's very good at grants. Thank you, Jill.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion approved, 5-0. A motion to schedule a work session with the Library Board of Trustees regarding the construction renovation of a new library.
I'll move that motion.
I'll second.
Second, so this is a motion that I put on. My desire was to, because after the divisive election, to get everybody in the room, the Board of Trustees and the council members, to sort out how we were going to move forward on this. It's going to be difficult. There's two very strong opinions, but we've had this happen before. We had the maintenance of effort discussion. People may have remembered 5 years ago with the school, where people ended up coming to the middle. We had the single rate issue years ago, where we ended up giving a modest tax relief to the businesses, although there were strong views on each side. So my goal with this is to do this as soon as possible. And it's not going to be, we know what the arguments are on each side, but I think each side has to show a willingness to come to a compromise on this. It's not going to be an all or nothing discussion, because if it is, it's going to be a waste of time. So that's my hope. That's why I want to hear what people have to say. People know what my position was in the campaign. People know what others' positions were in the campaign. So it's now time to stop campaigning and to start governing. So any questions on that?
What date are you looking at, Matt?
I would like to do it on next Monday, if that's a time that's available, if we can check with the Board of Trustees and others, if they're available. If council members are available.
Works for me.
Jesse?
Yeah, that date's fine.
All right. Ricky?
Good.
Joe?
Yes.
All right, so I'll take a motion. We'll have Terry, the town clerk, check with the Board of Trustees about their availability. So I'll take a motion for the date and the time.
I'd like to do a little bit more discussion first.
On the scheduling, or do you want to talk on the next item?
On this item, we could do the
want to talk-
scheduling part first if you want.
Well,
but-
this is just scheduling the work session, and then the next item is
All right, so yes, on this item then.
the scheduling of the work session.
On this
Okay.
item specifically. So I'm going to take issue with the summary and the way that this agenda item is worded. I know probably a lot of people in the audience may not have the full summary, as it's not on the agenda, on the short agenda. So I'm just going to read that real quick. So here's the summary for this item. Since November, the newly elected town council members have been familiarizing themselves with the details of the contract with Gilbane to purchase real estate in the pier, the old IGA building.
Jesse, do you mind if I read it since it's mine?
Go ahead.
All right. All right. Since November, the newly elected town council members have been familiarizing themselves with the details of the contract with Gilbane to purchase real estate. Since November, the newly elected town council members have been familiarizing themselves with the details of the contract with Gilbane to purchase real estate in the pier, the old IGA building, and its potential use as a library. Many details regarding the future of that contract have yet to be resolved. Before moving forward with any plans for that property, the town council should meet with the Library Board of Trustees so members of each group have an opportunity to discuss the issue, share their ideas, and come to a consensus regarding the future of this property. And that's why I want the work session on that, to deal with what the future looks like.
Thank you. So there's two parts of that summary that concern me in terms of the wording. Its potential use as a library, that's the one part. The second part is regarding the future of this property. So this is where I see some confusion. My question is, if you're phrasing it in this way, do you see in your mind, since you wrote the item, that there's a potential that this would not be the home of the library, that this building would not be a library?
I definitely see there's a potential for that, but I'm saying I'm willing to come to the table to discuss. That was my position. There was a campaign. The Board of Trustees sent a letter out saying that there's a member of the council who wants to repeal the deal. That was my position in the campaign because of the financial implications of the deal. So the hissing is lovely, but if you're trying to set examples for the youth, maybe you shouldn't hiss at a meeting. So I think, so that's what I want. I want it, you weren't there for those other two issues that I described. I voted for things that was not my position because I came to the middle on those two issues. So I think if there's openness to the library side, the Library Board of Trustees to pare this down. We haven't decided the status of the liquor store, for example. It's just undecided. But anyway, it's just scheduling on the 14th at 7 p.m. So if you don't want it, if you want to continue campaigning, as I said, go. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so that was my first question.
Yep.
Following up on that, I know you realize this. I want to make sure everyone in the audience does. The bond cannot be used for anything else other than a library. So we bought the building. That's paid for out of the town reserve. We can't use that to pay that building back unless it's a library. It's very specific. We spoke to bond counsel last week. If it's not a library, the town bought that building and it'll sit empty, and our bond rating has gone down.
Well, our bond rating hasn't gone down, but.
Well, that's not the information I was given. So basically what we're talking about, if this happens, is we'll own an empty building in the middle of town, affecting our bond rating. We can debate that, which means that we will not be able to get a road bond, and we have road work scheduled for the end of March, which is already committed to with various vendors. So my question is, how is that a plan?
Do you want a work session to discuss the issues going forward or not? It's a scheduling of a work session, everyone, that's all it is. So do you want to do that or not?
Is this going to be public or private?
All work sessions are public. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
And just to clarify,
So-
Laura, the bond rating for the town, has the bond rating gone down? No, that's not correct. Thank you.
So is there, so we'll say a motion to schedule this for Monday, January 14th at 7 p.m. Will someone move that motion?
I'll move it.
That motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Further discussion? Yes.
Anthony Lupino, 25 Lake Road. You made some statements in this discussion, and what's troubling to me is that you mentioned campaigning on this issue, yet more people are aware that after the 2016 election, a couple of you people flipped. You campaigned on supporting the library, and now you don't support the library. So I think that's 570, 667% of the people, you're going to be under the microscope this time around. I would suggest to...
Tony, is this about scheduling the work session?
Yes.
Okay.
Do
you have a problem with the date?
Well, you meant, this is your discussion before entering into this.
It's simply a date for a work session.
No, I disagree. I agree with Councilperson Poog that he should amend the motion to say that is a discussion of a library, not a potential library, a library.
That's not what the motion is.
The
motion said it. This is what has to stop.
No.
Okay, no, Tony,
No,
Is it a motion to
listen,
schedule a work
you asked-
session?
you
A
asked-
motion, let me.
you asked for my-
Can you
you
give-
asked-
and I'm going
you asked to hear me. You have not heard me.
I'm going to.
I have not finished.
I just want to read to you, it
Let
doesn't
me
have in there
finish.
potential.
You
Okay.
have not
So
allowed
go
me to
ahead.
finish.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You are supposed to be the moderator. You are not supposed to have discussion with me. You are the moderator. You elected to be the chairperson of the council. You're the moderator. You're supposed to allow them to speak. The summary is not part of the agenda, but the summary is the direction of how that's going to occur. He has the right to amend that to say that it's for this discussion of a library, not a potential library, not a potential use. He has the right to amend that motion, and I would encourage him to do that. And you are the moderator. You are not supposed to interact.
So Jesse, do you want to make a motion to amend the language?
Sure.
But it's not, it's the motion you're amending. A motion to schedule a work session with the Library Board of Trustees regarding the construction renovation of a new library. There's no amending. You can amend that if you want.
You can, the good news is we want to sit down and talk. If we can focus on that good portion of this. You can talk about the language if you want to make a motion to go for it.
Sure.
But
Yeah, I'll make a motion to amend the summary.
It's my summary. You can't amend the summary. It's an inappropriate motion.
Robert's Rules, Lynn Derbyshire, 9 Linden Road. Robert's Rules of Order allows for an amendment of the proposal that's put forward. It doesn't have to be the summary that's amended. It should be, as Councilman Pugh said, the proposal that you did not put fully into the agenda. That's Robert's Rules of
It's
Order.
a motion to schedule. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion, what's your vote?
Aye.
Motion approved 5-0. The next item is a motion to authorize the staff to advertise the request for proposals for architectural engineering services relating to the library project, conversion of the Belmont Market. Is there a motion?
A motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Okay, this one's mine. As you know, it's the reason why you folks are here tonight. Since the first meeting in December, this council has been doing its due diligence, okay? All council members have talked to the bond council. All but one have talked to OLIS, that wanted to talk to OLIS. And that's going to happen this week. So their due diligence, as stated back in December, is moving forward. So they're not sitting on their hands. They're gathering information, vetting the process. Believe me, I've been up here 4 years, and nobody dislikes bureaucracy more than me. I mean, the wheels of democracy give you a migraine. So, couple issues I just want to touch on. I will be pulling this RFP tonight, for starters. All right, we're going to talk about it, and I'm going to move to drop it because we will be having the work session next Monday night at 7 p.m., as Councilman Mannix has stated. And then the following meeting on the 21st, we'll have an up and down vote to move forward with the RFP. Okay? We still have a couple issues that need to be vetted. This gives us more than enough time to take care of this at the end of the month, the next meeting. Okay? But I didn't pull this because I wanted to give you folks an update of what's going on. Okay? So I've got a couple things. Let me see. There's a couple other issues. One councilman asked for the master plan for the library, which is due in April, and they were kind enough to put together a preliminary summary, and I did forward that. And other pieces of information were gathered and forwarded. So they are doing their due diligence. And I think it's important, Mr. Zonfrillo had a very good point. If we're going to execute this process in a timely manner, We need to do it together as a unit, as a town. So I know it's frustrating, okay, very frustrating. As far as the bond rating, at this point, we still have a very good bond rating, but certainly we did dip in our reserve from 16% down to 13%. If we don't have some type of action plan in the next couple months of what we're going to do with that building and how we're going to fund it, then at that point, then the bond rating starts to take a hit. But we have time to come up with an action plan. So there's no, that's a non-issue at this point. Mike, could you put that up? I got a couple figures I want to kick around on the cost of the build-out. Forgive me, I just kind of put this together, and I couldn't give you guys a copy. So. Okay. All right. The initial build-out cost was in March of 16. Jeff Cesarine scored this, updated this to today, and I want to thank him. We're going to lose him March 1st, and it's going to be another tragic loss. Okay, in November 16, we're at 3.793 million. In November 2017, 3.9 million. And then we had an increase to 124,000. And then last year, November 18, we're just over 4 million. And then I updated it to February 1st. So it's basically, next slide, Mike, basically about $9,800 a month it costs us to delay. Every month that goes by, it's costing us about $2,500 a week, $350 a day, $15 an hour. And I'm going to be up here 5 minutes. I'm going to cost you $2.50. This council is doing its due diligence. I implore you to have patience. The next 2 weeks is going to set the cost for the next 2 years. So hang in there. We'll get this done. And I move to pull this motion.
I don't know who's firsted and seconded it, so just withdraw it and withdraw the second.
I move to withdraw this.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
All right. Unless you want to discuss? We can discuss a little bit?
Further discussion? Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I might have mentioned I'm not familiar with this.
Why don't you come up to the... Yeah.
I'm so loud, I don't ever think I need a mic. I'm beginning to see what's happening. And I'm really, really concerned. I've been watching CNN and MSNBC, and this looks a lot like that. What's going on? I mean, as far as I know, you work for us? Am I wrong? Why would one person be dominating the situation? What's going on? And why is it that you never answer? I mean, it's...
Matt, can I
so I get the idea, we speak for 3 minutes, you say nothing. Is that right?
Well, during the discussion.
Is that right?
There's 3 minutes for public comment, and you can have a discussion on the particular items, but the council member who has the item is withdrawing it, so it's really not even a vote. If the second is withdrawn, we don't vote on that. If I put on a motion, I can withdraw that motion. That's how Robert's rules works.
So Robert, whoever he is, set these rules that there's no dialogue?
Because it's a body that's representing you. So it's important, right now he's withdrawing the motion. So that's what's in the second
I don't
withdrawn.
know what that means.
I
want to know why is this not going forward when there's hundreds of people here and everybody's voted.
He just explained it.
No, I didn't get the explanation.
I can explain it for you.
Thank
you. Or do you want to?
No.
All right. So Patrick's withdrawing the motion because we don't have the votes basically for it to pass.
the motion on having a meeting and discussing this next Monday night?
This is for the RFP. This is for the RFP.
This is for the RFP.
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't know what an RFP is.
It's a request for proposal. So this is to get bids for the architect.
Okay, what I can't imagine is if this has been going on for 2 years, why haven't you met with the library people before now?
We have.
I mean, I'm sorry, and I'm evidently not prepared, but I'm very curious.
So the item has been withdrawn, so there's not a discussion. So item number
There'll be a workshop next week. Please
16
come to the
has
workshop
been
next week.
withdrawn.
Thank you. I'm
And
glad
during-
to hear you're going to have a workshop.
Well, we
but is
voted
it
on
more
it.
important that we go by Robert, whoever he is, rules, than get done what we all came for?
And
I'm so sorry, and I'm sorry for my ignorance about this, but this really, really matters to me a lot, and we don't seem to be having a dialogue.
Thank you. We're moving on to item number 17.
Can I make a statement? Just a quick
Excellent.
statement. Just a quick-
Good job.
Go ahead.
What's number 17?
Go ahead.
Okay, folks, I implore you, please be patient.
No. Everybody
All right.
in this room has been patient for years.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, it's coming to fruition in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from tonight.
How can we believe that?
Well, I've been straight up with everybody for my last 4 years, and anybody that knows me, right? I mean,
I'm just wondering, can this be,
This-
can this ever go forward?
This conversation is out of order. We're in a little bit of difficult territory here. The item's
Right.
been withdrawn by the sponsor, so
Right.
we're moving on to item 17. Item 17 is a motion to approve the public safety server upgrade project with the purchase of equipment software from 3 vendors, Velocity Solution Zones Incorporated and Dell, in the total amount of $20,905.03. Is there a motion?
Thank you, Mr. Trump.
There a motion? Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion approved, 5-0. Item number 18 is a motion to approve the purchase of 1 new NVR network video recorder for the police department from Galaxy Integrated Technologies Incorporated in the amount of $15,715.36.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, this item comes from the police department. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved, 5-0. Item number 19 is a motion to approve the replacement of 1 firefighter due to a retirement.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, obviously this item comes from the fire department. This is the fire marshal position, but it's not, it's a lower position because everyone moved up. Is that correct, chief? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion approved, 5-0. Item number 20 is a motion to approve the filling of 1 vacancy, the town engineer, due to a retirement.
So moved.
Is there a second? This item comes from HR. I just
Second.
wanted to thank our town engineer, Jeff Cesarine, who over the years has had to sometimes step in as the town manager, the acting town manager at different times and different stints, and has shown a great commitment to the town over the years. So we'll be missing him as well as Jim as they move on. I know he is staying until early March. So thank you for your service to the town.
Another tragedy.
I'd like to thank you for your service to the town, Jeff.
So we should have done this when we had the crowd here.
You're right.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved, 5-0. Item number 21 is a motion to approve the filling of 1 vacancy within the wastewater division due to a resignation.
So moved.
Is there a second? All discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion approved, 5-0. Item number 22 is a motion to approve the Kinney Avenue water tank door replacement project to be completed by Abcor Restoration Company, Incorporated, in the not-to-exceed amount of $24,860.
So moved.
Second.
This item comes from the Water Department. Are there any questions? Nope. Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved, 5-0. Item number 23 is a motion to award the bid for aeration system modifications electrical services to the lowest bidder, K Electric Incorporated, in the amount of $240,094.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, this item also comes from the Water Department. Any questions or comments? Right.
I just
Go
have
ahead.
a question. Is that part of the grant? Or is that grant's probably wore out by now, right? No grant money, okay. Yeah, yep, okay. Yikes.
Any other questions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion approved, 5-0. A motion to approve the request from the Parks and Rec Department, Narragansett Lions Club, and the Narragansett Chamber of Commerce for a new fundraiser event, Endless Summer Festival, to be held on Saturday, September 28, 2019, from noon to 6 p.m. at Narragansett Town Beach, subject to approval of state and local regulations.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Any questions for Parks and Rec Department? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion approved, 5-0. Item number 25 is a motion to approve the request from the Parks and Recreation Department to enter into a performance contract with Tramps Like Us, managed by Digital Design Services, to perform during the new 2019 Endless Summer Festival on September 28, 2019 at the Town Beach for the amount of $7,350.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, this also comes from Parks and Rec Department, so we're excited about this event. Any questions for Parks and Rec? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? A motion approved to 5-0. 26 is a motion to approve the contract with the University of Rhode Island Graduate School of Oceanography for shoreline mapping and analysis services for Narragansett Town Beach in the amount of $19,872.
So moved.
Seriously. All right, discussion.
Yeah,
This is from Parks and Rec.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to look at that. Yeesh. So I did notice that the further surveys will be less. How often are they going to do them? Like, are they going to find the benchmarks and?
Good evening. This is it would be a survey that's going to be done twice for a 1 year, and then we'd hope to do it in another year or two down the road.
Right. So they're just setting up points of reference, right?
Exactly.
How many points of reference? I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to read that.
Well, it's the whole beach, similar to what they're doing at the treatment
Right, but
plant.
there's usually a set amount of reference points.
It's the entire beach.
Okay. All right. Okay.
This came out of the Beach Sustainability Workshop Group.
Right.
That's correct. Yep.
It's their suggestion, together with Parks and Rec.
Right, so, Patrick, I sat on that committee as well, and what we definitely have to do is we have to get a baseline of where we stand today, so that in case, if we have any type of disasters or anything of the future with this beach, we need to know where we started, at what point, and where we are at the point of whatever happens down there. So, again, this study would be done now. If it has to be done in 2 years, we would look into it again. Believe it or not, the amount of money that we're paying for this is very reasonable. So they are definitely working with us on this. So this is why this is brought forward.
Right. No, I'm for it. I just wondering if the baseline's always more expensive. All right.
Stanley.
Stan Wachowski, Narragansett. I was just looking at, once we have the baseline, that means, are we considering pumping from Narrow River and bringing it up this way? I don't see bringing truckloads of sand in, so I'm wondering it's great to have the baseline, we need it, so we need this, there's no doubt about it. But I'm looking forward, sure enough, we are gonna lose sand, there's no doubt about it. And are we looking forward for the plan to replace, because I was down in Florida years and years ago, and I saw a pump with pipes, half a mile down that beach, pumping sand back. And is that something we're considering?
Stanley, we would love love to be able to get down in that river and take all that sand and bring it back on the beach. Every granule of sand I'd love to put back there. It's a matter of, we are trying to move forward with trying to get that operation to see if we can do it, but it's a very, very costly operation. The problem being is, to do a $2 or $3 million dredge program, the dredge companies that do this, they're on 30, 40, and 60 million dollar projects. So for them to come down here, it's not even
we're
worth.
small potatoes.
Right.
I
But
just-
we do want to continue to try to move forward with something on that basis.
Thank
And
you.
Steve can give you more
Yeah.
information on that.
We're spending about, as you know, we're spending $12,000 to $14,000 per year, and that dredging project would be up in the millions to do that. So it is something that we obviously that would be a byproduct of a project that would be done, and we certainly would take the sand.
And Steve, we have Rep. McAtee, who's really helping a lot with that process as well, right? Bringing in grants, Rep. McAtee, Carol?
Yes, so this project, this baseline project, it would help us in the future for a FEMA match, and that's exactly what what the project would be for.
Yes, sir.
My name's Bob Wiener. I was here last year. I'm visiting my mother who lives on 101 Central Street, just next door. And I think that's a great idea. I mean, you've got to get these baseline studies. LiDAR is a great technology. I don't see why you wouldn't try to fly the whole town. Most states and/or counties or big municipalities fly their territories once a year anyhow because of both for land use changes and updating maps. I just ask that you consider making the data file public domain. I don't know if it would automatically be public domain, because there's a lot of laptop programs where you can manipulate LiDAR data. Anyone can do it for fun. Right. And you might get some other ideas. So just if the data set would become public domain.
Thank you.
In a reasonable transfer file format.
Right, yeah, that'd be tough.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Nope, we're good.
Excuse me, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion approved 5-0. Item number 27 is a motion to approve the contract for architectural engineering services for the South and West Cabanas with Frank Kopperwitz Architects in the amount of $33,300.
So moved.
Second.
All right, this item comes from both Parks and Rec and Engineering. Are there any questions? This is the design phase of the cabanas that weren't destroyed in the Hurricane Sandy. So this design phase would take place, and I think this is in the capital budget for the Beach Enterprise Fund for the upcoming year. Okay. Any discussion or questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
I think
Aye.
there's one.
Oh.
One question.
Yes, Lori.
Here it comes. Yikes.
Lori Kelly, 25 Wildfield Farm Road. I read the agenda items backing this up, and am I right in saying there's no RFP on this, architectural services?
Is that correct?
And I can't ask him to speak, but could someone fill us in on why the library can't have an RFP, but this project can have an RFP?
RFP, yes, so RFPs, there was concerns about RFPs going out. We had a situation in the past where, go ahead.
Steve, this is the second time that this particular architect we're working on it. Is that the correct reason why? So that's the reason why we didn't put an RFP out, because we had already done one for the last
Ellen
phase.
Koima.
Say your name and address for the record.
Ellen Koima, 109 Westmoreland Street. How many cabanas are being built?
Steve.
Steve.
It's the last two sections.
Just come to the microphone, yeah.
It's the last two sections of the cabanas. The original cabanas that were built designed by this architect. This is the reason why we're going with the same architect, because to go back out to bid, it doesn't make sense to have another architect redesign the cabanas that we're having designed exactly the way we want them designed as the first section. So we want the 2/3 of the project done in the next couple of years. So we're having it designed this in the same fashion as the initial phase. So this is the second phase.
Steve, do you guys have a cost estimate on that, on what this would cost? For the
We'll
actual
get
project?
that after the design, correct? This is what?
Right.
That's how it happened
That would
last
come
time.
out of the design.
Or, well, you worked with them on some other cabanas, right?
Yes.
And do you remember what the cost was for those? Sorry, I know it's probably not on the top of your head.
Not at this time.
Not really? Okay.
We can get that for you, Jesse, though. It came in, I want to say 285, but
But
yeah.
I wanted to know the number of cabanas?
Oh, I'm sorry, 2/3 of 80, how many total cabanas? 60. So 60, around 60.
Okay, so 60 cabanas, okay. So you're more than willing to go forward for 60 cabanas on the beach that may or may not be used by the town people, but you're unwilling to go forward with a library that basically serves 15,000 people.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved, 5-0. Item number 28 is a motion to approve the purchase of one new JCB backhoe for the Parks and Recreation Department from Northland JCB in the amount of $82,153.80, utilizing the Sourcewell, formerly NGPA contract.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. This also comes from Parks and Rec. This is a 20-year-old machine that's being replaced. Are there any questions
Yeah,
or
are
comments?
you going to use this to knock down the old cabana? Okay.
Stanley.
Oh, Stanley, come on up.
Very good.
I was just going to ask if there is maybe a last year's model or something more reasonably priced that we could, sometimes somebody might have one that's similar, 1 or 2 years old, that could be used in this, instead of buying a brand new one. Is that a possibility?
It's a 20-year-old.
Well, the old one we have to go, yeah, the old one has to go, because I saw it, $27,000 in repairs or something like that. So for sure, the old one has to go. But when we buy the new one, do we have to buy brand new? Isn't there a secondhand, like the used car? You got a used car, I bought one for 38,000 miles, like brand new. So can you get one with 10,000 hours that not a new price? That's all I ask.
I think Jim's ready for you.
Jim's ready.
He's ready for you.
I knew that would happen.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Stanley, you're going to train me very well for my new job when I take it over. So the first council president is correct. It's over 5,000 hours on this backhoe. It's almost 20 years old. We've put about $21,000 into this vehicle, into this piece of equipment in the past 8 years, but it needs $32,500 in repairs now. If we trade that in, we will pay $82,000 for a brand new vehicle. So to answer Stanley's question direct, should we look at a used vehicle, my recommendation would be no. And the reason for that is, if you were just buying this outright and it was a private person doing that, maybe you could get a good deal. But when you buy new, you get the warranty and you get the full trade-in value on something that you're trading in. This piece of equipment is so vital to the beach. If this thing goes down, we really would be at a major disadvantage. So this is, I scrutinized this the minute it came in, and I fully support the expenditure of this money.
Thank you. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion approved, 5-0. Item 29 is a motion to approve the town manager to sign the contract for the partnership agreement with the Rhode Island Tree Council for the proposed collaborative effort known as the Trees for Narragansett project. This
So
item
moved.
comes from the tree warden. Is there a second? Any discussion or questions?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Motion approved, 5-0. Item number 30 is a motion to approve the contract for diesel motor fuel with Peterson's Oil Service Incorporated at 6 cents and 5 cents, depending upon the season, over the lowest reseller's rack price, Port of Providence, as published each day in the Oil Price Information Service through April 30th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. This item comes from purchasing. Any questions for Jim? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Motion approved 5-0. Item 31 is a motion to approve the one-year contract extension for professional stenographic reporting services with all 4 vendors, Alicia Cerrito, Lisa Thacker, Allied Court Reporters, and Diane Edson at their quoted rates or prices in order to have a pool of qualified stenographers available for public hearings of the Town Council and various boards.
So moved.
Second.
Is there a second? Discussion. This is important for the stenographers who are helping us with all our zoning and planning issues. We're making sure they're recorded properly. Any questions on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion approved 5-0. Item 32 is a motion to appoint 1 council member as a liaison to the Narragansett Chamber of Commerce.
Yep. Okay. I'll move that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. This item comes from Patrick.
Okay, yeah, this was approved previously by the previous town council, and I put it out there because it never made, when we were doing our appointments and board and committee appointments, this wasn't addressed, so I don't know what you folks want to do, or what do you want to do with this one?
Any thoughts from anybody?
You want
put it
to
out
move
to vote.
forward with it?
Do you want to, well, we have a new executive director for the Chamber of Commerce. So we know that there's a change in that position. We could let that continue. We could see how that goes before we put in a liaison. But I don't know what everyone thinks.
Why don't we continue that?
All right. Is there a motion to continue?
Motion to continue.
Is there all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion approved 5-0. Item number 33 is a motion to appoint 1 individual to the Conservation Commission to fill a vacant seat for an unexpired 3-year term ending on April 30th, 2019. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All right, there's 2 individuals who are looking to be in this position, so we'd have to choose one. Does the council have one that they would prefer, or do you want to? I haven't spoken to either of them, so.
Right.
All right, so why don't we continue this item? Is there a motion to continue?
So moved.
All right.
Second.
All right, discussion. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved 5-0. A motion to appoint 4 individuals to the Recreation Advisory Board for a 3-year term to expire on November 1st, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
All right, discussion. So this is the first situation we have with the term limits that were put in the charter, I think in the 2012 timeframe. So there's shorter terms on Recreation Advisory Board, and so they have, there are people up for term limits, and there's also Rick Lima's position, because he served on that board, so his position's open. So we could make a motion to, let's put forward a candidate to replace Ricky. So is there a nomination for someone to replace Ricky, since he's now on the council?
I'd like to nominate
Joan Mulligan's here tonight. I'd like to nominate her.
Joan Mulligan.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion on Joan Mulligan? All right. All in favor?
She loves the beach.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved 5-0. All right. So then we have the 3 other positions.
Well, we have another one. If you got that email this afternoon, Deborah Rinaldi, she applied online, but for some reason it didn't take.
So,
That's right.
Go ahead.
So on the rest of these, Patrick,
Yep.
because, again, the people who are leaving, we've rarely never notified them that their
Right.
terms were up. There's a little bit of a
Right.
miscommunication there.
Sure.
And you have a chairperson who's leaving. So I would like to continue, if it's possible, the rest of this, so that we can have the next meeting, let them know and asked them that it was, politely, it was very nice that they put all that time in, and possibly they can get somebody who's there to step up and take a chairperson, and then we can select the rest of the members.
When is their next meeting?
Actually, Monday.
It's Monday. Okay, so we've appointed Joan.
Okay.
I'll try to get together with Terry to maybe contact the people with the term limits to thank them, because I don't want to they're out and they're probably not aware of the term limit issue. So, all right.
You want to go with Rinaldi, and then we'll just appoint
we have
two
to
and
bump.
hold off on two?
Well, we have to bump. We haven't talked to.
Right.
So I think let's continue.
Okay.
Have them come in.
All right.
All right.
Okay, so you
So we'll
have-
take a motion to continue the 3 appointments for
Make
rec.
that motion.
Is there a
Second.
second? All right. Discussion. Again, I reiterate, I'll get together with Terry. We want to thank those people, and we just haven't had an opportunity to do that. As you know, Ann has left as the clerk, so it's not that there's been a miscommunication on that, but it's important to thank the people who volunteered their time. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion approved, 5-0. All right. A motion to appoint 2 individuals to the Towers Committee for a 2-year term expiring on August 1st, 2020, and reappoint 1 individual to the Towers Committee as a representative of the Narragansett Historical Society for a 2-year term to expire on August 1st, 2020. So I'm going to break this up. I'm first going to put the motion to reappoint 1 individual to the Towers Committee as a representative of the Narragansett Historical Society for a 2-year term to expire on August 1st, 2020. Is there a motion for that appointment?
Motion to reappoint Shirley Eastham.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
All right, discussion. Shirley is a strong contributing member to the Towers. I want to thank her for her service. So we will vote to reappoint her. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion approved, 5-0. All right, then we have a vacancy created from David Quinn, and there are 2 candidates that are interested. So is there a motion for a replacement for David Quinn?
I make a motion we replace with Terry Quinn.
All right, is there a second for that?
Second.
All right, discussion?
Is that a relative?
Yeah, it's his wife.
His wife?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right, Terry's been coming to the Towers
Sure.
Committee meetings.
Yep.
He's unable to make it, David Quinn, to the meetings. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion approved, 5-0. And we've discussed term limits at the Towers Committee. So we have, is there a motion regarding putting on any of these other candidates?
Yes,
for that?
I'd like to move to appoint Earl Jackman.
Earl Jackman, okay.
Okay. Is there discussion on that? All right, so this is the term limited position of Meg Rogers. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion approved, 5-0. A motion, item 36 is a motion to, so congratulations to all those people. Thank you. A motion to reappoint 2 tree wardens for the town of Narragansett pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 2-14-2.
So moved.
Second.
All right, so this is a reappointment of Steve Daigneault and Joe Harvey. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's approved, 5-0. Item 37 is a motion to schedule an executive session to conduct performance reviews with the probate and municipal court judges.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. This item comes from Jill.
We haven't had an opportunity to review them in a while. We have new members of the council. We thought it would be a good idea.
Yep.
So we are getting together on January 14th for the library work session. We could see if one of them's available that night. We could also do it the January 29th, which is the other off night that we're coming in. We could also do it the 22nd. Anybody have any?
Let's do the 14th, see if we can get them both
See if we
in
get
there.
them. Okay.
Get them both in there.
All right,
Knock
so
it right out.
is there a motion for performance reviews at 6 p.m., would that be? Because 7 weeks, so motion for 6 p.m. at 14 pending the availability of the probate and
Second.
municipal judges.
Second.
Well, that's a motion.
Oh.
All right.
Patrick's going to make it, and I'll second Patrick's
And
motion.
Jill is a second. So Patrick made it, and
Made the
Jill's
motion,
second.
right.
All right.
Sorry.
That's okay. And you'll get back to us with this, Kevin. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Motion approved, 5-0. A motion to approve the meeting schedule for the budget process for fiscal year 2019 to 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. So we all know what this is. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion approved 5-0. Executive session, a motion to retire to executive session of the Town Council in accordance with Rhode Island General Laws 42-46-4 and 42-46-5A to discuss personnel, non-union employees, sick leave benefits. 2, the town clerk selection process. 3, the town manager transition as in accordance with General Laws 42-46-5, subsection A1, and to discuss collective bargaining, hiring legal counsel for labor contract negotiations in accordance with Rhode Island General Laws 42-46-5, subsection A2, and to appoint Mark Davis as clerk pro tem. First, I'll take the motion.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? So a roll
Second.
call vote. All right, starting with Mr. Pugh.
Just say my name, right? Aye.
Yep. Say then Mr. Murray.
Aye.
Mr. Mannix, aye. Ms. Lawler.
Aye.
And Mr. Lima.
Aye.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Oh, well, is there discussion on that? Oh,
I wanted to, I had raised my hand. I just want to have a point of information on one.
come on up, Rich. All right. We'll have it in the context of the motion on executive session for now. All right. So, Terry, is that okay? All right.
This is just a point of information that I would think would be very helpful at the meeting Monday. And I was going to make the point at 6. I did raise my hand.
I apologize.
It wasn't successful. But when you look at the motion, I will stress with you again that when you use the term the Belmont market, especially going out for an RFP, there has to be specification. The public voted, one of the choices was the Belmont market, which I would assume would be what we thought was the Belmont market, not the two appendages. And I want to remind you, I say this because when you look at that building, you think, well, this is one building. It's not. It is 3 separate buildings connected by a medieval tortuous climb from the liquor store into the, what I call the indoor,
Richard, I'm gonna.
Okay, but
I got.
Yeah,
It's a
I
little,
just-
quite a bit off the field, but
no,
just wrap it up.
I just
Yeah.
want to remind you that an RFP has to be specific. And the Belmont market isn't specific.
Thank you very much. All
I
right.
think that space would make a great new chamber.
I
council chamber.
apologize for taking a comment that was off the topic. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
All right.
All right. So we'll see everyone. Thank you.